and welcome to this 150th episode, 150th episode of the Political Spotlight. I am your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey, and oh my gosh, I am on fire. Let me tell you, I am really revved up for this episode. We have had nothing but government, politics, meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting today, ladies and gentlemen. I was going to call this episode something else, but then it just struck me. No. I need to call it meetings, and more meetings. And to just give you a really quick little kind of agenda of what we're going to be talking about in tonight's big show, I can just ram it down through you real quickly. We're going to be going over the Randolph County Election Board meeting, the Delaware County Council meeting and special meeting, all revved up there, the Indiana Election Commission meeting, the State Senate Corrections and Criminal Law Committee meetings, the Delaware County Election Board meeting for tomorrow, the Henry County Commissioners meeting for tomorrow, and of course, without further ado, and leaving him off, we're not going to have a show without Sproles Watch. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to talk about, and we're going to get right into it tonight. Before we get started, please do us a favor. Go ahead and hit that like button. If you have not hit the like button on the video, it's very important. If you are connected and you have a profile on YouTube, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. When you hit that subscribe button, it gives you the opportunity to go ahead and click that bell. It's in one button now. The subscription and the bell is all together, so just do it there. Obviously, if you are watching live, please feel free to comment in the live chat box over to the right-hand side of your thingamabob. If you're watching this on repeat, please comment in the comment section below. Either way, we will get back with you and interact with you. And above all else, please share the show with everyone you know. Okay, folks, let me tell you, I've also got to say this in the same housekeeping area. Facebook has been giving me some issues. Facebook has been acting kind of a fool with us. So basically, for some unknown reason, for about the last week, every time something goes up on Facebook, almost as soon as it goes up, it will blank out and people cannot click on it. So I'm telling you, for those of you that are still watching on Facebook, hey, I don't care where you watch from. Maybe if you like watching from Facebook, you could go over to Twitter. We're on Twitter. You could watch us there. But if you want the best experience possible, all you got to do is go to YouTube, make you a YouTube profile, and watch via YouTube. You can comment. You'll be able to see everybody that comments, and you'll be able to interact with the entire family. If you're having trouble with that and you don't know how to do that, or you're not being able to do it, contact me. I'll walk you through it. I'll personally walk you through it. Let me ask you, Glenn Beck, if he's got a problem and you having a hard time getting Glenn Beck on the old radio, you think you call Glenn Beck up and he'll say, well, here's what you got to do. Nah, that's not going to happen. But you call me up and I'll help you get a hold of us and get connected with us so that you can watch the very best way possible. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we've got a lot to talk about. The meetings never end. They never ended. So today, I'm going to quickly run you through. We had the Randolph County Election Board at 9 a.m. this morning. We had the Delaware County Council and special meeting that started. Oh, no, not that one. Delaware County Council meeting that started at 9 a.m. We had the State Commission that started at 10 a.m. And then I don't have a banner made up for it, but we had the State Senate Corrections and Criminal Law Committee that took place at 11:30. And so those are the meetings that are on plate for today, and those are going to be the first part of the show. Then we're going to kick into what's going on tomorrow, and we're going to then kick into the Sproles madness, and there is some Sproles madness. So first off, I want to start with Randolph County, and I want to tell you, folks, it's not just Delaware County, it's not just Madison County, it's not just everywhere else. Okay, I got to leave Henry County out of it because they did a pretty good job with the election board stuff. But Randolph County today, all right, unbelievable, completely unbelievable. They had one candidate that was challenged, all right. Karen Wilkins was challenged. And for those of you that maybe don't recall Karen, we had Karen on the show back, let's see, it would have been back during the election. She was one of the people that we interviewed. She was one of the, we had them on with 3 different people, and we had her on, I believe we had her on the same night that we had on Coy Applegate and Joan Ashley. And she was a Democrat that was running last year. She was running for city council. She was running for one of the city council seats. And Karen is someone that I've known for quite some time. She lives in Winchester, Indiana, and she's been politically active for a long time. And like a lot of other people, I'm just going to be honest, she wants to be involved. She wants to be able to help out. She wants to be able to do something. And she's kind of up a creek because, she didn't really know where she landed. She first jumped into the Democrat side. I don't believe that she technically belongs there. There's just nobody in the Democrats. They're very, very few and far between. So she said that she was going to try to run as a Republican. She stated why she was going to run as a Republican. And I'm going to be honest, I generally don't like when people flip-flop parties and whatnot, but Winchester and Randolph County needs an overhaul. I don't know what they need, but they need something, okay? So she decided to give it a try with the Republican Party. Okay, so for those of you that do not recall Karen, I'm going to give you show you here real quick on the screen who we're talking about. I've got this pulled up here now. This is Karen, obviously the person on the right there. It's the person in the middle is me. It's a very, very minor issue. Listen to hear you say that.
Actually pay enough for people to afford the housing around here, because we're under a housing crisis because there's some housing missing.
Sure. Yes, there are there is housing missing in Winchester and Randolph County. Okay, so she did what was required by law. She pulled a Republican ballot in 2022. She pulled a Republican ballot in 2023, which is bizarre because she was on the ballot. She didn't even vote for herself in the primary because she pulled a Republican ballot. Okay. Now, she lost her race last year, and she told the Republican chairman last year, I'm going to run as a Republican next year for commissioner. The person who is running for commissioner currently is a very detestable human being. It's Missy Williams. Okay. We do not want Missy Williams to be commissioner of Randolph County. That would be a horrible thing. All right. Let me just let you know who she is. Okay. She's a blind to the world, happy, toxic positivity, Dan Ridenauer. She is a no harm, no foul. Don't talk about anything bad. Only the love, only the beautiful people. Jessica Piper. Okay, she is a Diane Likens. She is a Susan Hoon. Okay, this person does not live in reality. This woman does not live in reality. She is going to become a commissioner in Randolph County because they don't want anybody to challenge her. They don't want anybody to challenge her. So she had
So are you hearing rumors that the gentleman who was also signed up to run withdrew?
I'm
because
not hearing
he was
rumors. It did happen.
No, I know that he withdrew.
Oh.
I'm just wondering if there's rumors going around he withdrew because he was asked to.
No, that's what I'm saying. You know, he was asked to withdraw and he did withdraw. That's not a rumor. That is an absolute accurate portrayal of what happened. That is not a rumor. It's not something that's floating around.
Why do you want Missy so badly to be a commissioner?
I don't know. She's not really ever completed. I mean, she has now in the county council, but she is a weak-minded individual. She has no kind of intestinal
in charge.
fortitude. What?
So Wiki will still be in charge. The Lord High Pie.
Yeah, in a roundabout way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's Kate's right. And I'm glad I was not going to say what you said. I mean, I was going to say that they've dropped out, but I'm glad you brought that up but it is not a rumor. What Kate just said is not a rumor. There was a man who had filed to run. Like literally he filed to run for office. And they said, "Hey, sir, will you please not run because we don't want Missy to have any opponent." And he said, "Okay. Okay." Yeah, she was the librarian at the Winchester School. She was like doctor of librarial sciences. She won't let you speak. I just don't ask her if I can speak. I just don't ask her if I can speak. I just speak, and when I speak, Missy resigns. So maybe I'll need to come over to maybe I will. My 14-year-old is over here saying that was dumb. He should have said no. Yeah, no crap. I love it. Missy gets all flustered when yours truly speaks. And basically what happens is, like I said, and this is a proven fact, when Christopher Bilbrey speaks, Missy resigns. So I've got her to resign from one political seat. So I haven't really pushed her on the council. We've had bigger fish to fry, but with her being commissioner, maybe I need to reintroduce myself to her world a little bit and give her a taste of the Bilbrey. We'll just have to find out. I don't know. So Karen was on the challenge today. She was running for commissioner as a Republican. She was running for precinct committee person as a Republican. The Republican Party chairman, Ben Wells, who is absolutely, okay, I'm going to write on here. I'm going to write on here a word, and we're going to see. Okay, I hate it. 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 I hate it, but it is what it is. Ben Wells is Okay. It just came to me and my hand just wrote and I said, all right, I'll do it. Ben Wells is a worthless human being. He is not a good political brain. He's nothing. His party wins because they're the only party in Randolph County. He has no political, understanding. He's not a political whiz kid. He just happened to be in the right place at the right time. And he's got a bunch of sycophants underneath him that will do what he wants to do. So Karen ran. Karen by law. Okay. You want it, we'll do this and we'll pull this up here real quick. Indiana Code 3827. It's bad that this crap is like stuck in my brain and I just know it. We've looked at all this crap so much. Okay. So I'll show you right here. Here we go. Let me get this to pop up here, and I want it to be big enough so you guys can see it. All right. So here we go. It did, Julie. It did. It was amazing. All right, Indiana Code 3827. The declaration of each candidate required by this chapter must be signed before a person authorized to administer oaths and contain the following information: the candidate's name, printed or typewritten, as the candidate wants the candidate's name to appear on the ballot, and the candidate's name is permitted to appear on the ballot under 357. A statement that the candidate is a registered voter and location of the candidate's precinct and township or ward, if applicable, and city or town, county, and state. The candidate's complete residence address, and if the candidate's mailing address is different from the residence address, the mailing address must be printed as well. A statement of the candidate's party affiliation. Now listen. A statement of the candidate's party affiliation. So, someone wanting to run for office must make a statement of party affiliation. And in the primary, we know that's either Republican or Democrat. All right. Libertarian is later. Independent is later. Green Party is later. The primary in May is for Republicans and Democrats. For purposes of this subdivision, a candidate is considered to be affiliated. Ben Wells, are you listening? Do I need to scream this? Stupid Fred Davis. When are you going to go away? He is such a cancer on the political system in Randolph County. And he has been for years. When will this man go away? A statement of the candidate's affiliation. For purposes of this subdivision, a candidate is considered to be affiliated with the political party only if the following applies. All right? The most recent primary election in Indiana, which the candidate voted, was a primary. Ooh, when was this? It's 2021. Okay, I want to get the updated law. Stand by. I want to get the updated. I don't want to read this. We need to read the updated law. They were back to the good old times. Holy crap. We were back in the good old days. I know where we can find it. We'll do it like this. Give me 1 second. Indiana General Assembly. We need them anyways. So we'll do it like this. Stand by here, folks. I want to give you guys the right information. I don't want you guys to have wrong information.
Yeah, I know. Can you remind me again what Ben Wells is?
The Republican Party chairman. Oh, you mean a bitch?
I'm just going to leave this in here for you.
Yeah, yeah, that's so great. How did you get that there?
Magical.
That is so
Canva
wonderful.
is this amazing thing, and it lets you, download things without a background and stuff. It took like 2 seconds. I was like, we need that. We so need that for our show.
Cameron, or not Cameron. Who was I thinking? Cameron. I know what I'm thinking. Ben Wells. Ben Wells.
I'll let you have fun playing with that one.
I love it. Oh, God. Okay. All right. Oh, my God. All right. Let me get here to the Indiana code. All right. 3, 8, 2, 7. Did I say it right? Candidates. It might have been 3, 8. Yeah, it's 3827. Okay, here we go. Sorry, folks. Here's what we needed. I'm sorry. Here we go. We'll share it to you this way. This will make it much easier. Okay, here it is on the screen. Indiana General Assembly. 3, 8, 2, 7. Enter. Three, 8, 2, 7. Okay. The declaration of each candidate required by this chapter must be signed before a person authorized to administer oath and contain the following information: candidate's name, printed or typewritten as the candidate wants the candidate's name to appear on the ballot, and the candidate's name is permitted to appear on the ballot under 357. A candidate must specify by the designation described in 3575 each designation that the candidate wants that uses permitted by 357. A statement that the candidate is a registered voter and the location of the candidate's precinct and township or ward if applicable, and city or town, county, and state. The candidate's complete residence and the candidate's mailing address if it's different from the residence address. A statement of the candidate's party affiliation. For purpose of this subdivision, a candidate is considered to be affiliated with the political party only if the following applies. The 2 most recent primary elections in Indiana, which the candidate voted, were primary elections held by the party with which the candidate claims affiliation. If the candidate cast a nonpartisan ballot at an election held at the most recent primary election in which the candidate voted, a certification by the county chairman under Clause B is required. Or they could have voted Democrat or not voted, and the county chairman of the political party with which the candidate claims affiliation and in the county in which the candidate resides certifies that the candidate is a member of the political party. All right. It's right there in Indiana state code. The legislature put that in place in 2021 to go in the end of 2020 to go in effect 2021 to go in effect in 2022, and it drove everybody crazy. It's driving everyone crazy. It's caused all sorts of madness. But the Republicans in Indiana wanted this. Good, bad, right, wrong, or indifferent, Karen Wilkins complied with this law. And today, Ben Wells was the person who challenged her. So he's normally a person on the election board. Let me tell you, he stepped down. He didn't want to be the challenger and the judge. Can you believe it? He might very well not be a real stand-up man. But he's a lot better than Russ Willis, because Russ Willis just goes ahead and says, I'll be judge, jury, and executioner. At least Ben says, oh, no, I'll step down and have one of my lackeys do it for me. So they put a proxy in his place. All right. The Democrat Party chairman is Tito Ferris. I'm not a big fan of his. I think he's a weakling, and he's a city councilor over in Union City. He's a know nothing, do nothing. All right. He's there just to go along to get along. Well, he, for some unknown reason, stepped down off of the election board today, just temporarily today, as well. And they put Fred Davis there. Fred Davis is a cancer. Okay. So Miss Wilkins gets up. She says, I voted in 2 primaries in 2023 and 2022. I am a Republican under the law. And they said, oh, no, you're not. No, you're not. And they read this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is some craziness. This is called Hero versus Lake County Election Board. All right. And basically what the background here is, Hero, a resident of St. John, Indiana, has been a member of the Republican Party for more than 40 years. He voted as a Republican in every primary election since the mid-1980s, including the 2020 primary election. He's held numerous positions within the Republican Party, such as Lake County Republican chairman. He was the chairman. Supported Republican candidates for every office and usually voted for Republican candidates in the general election. In 2015, St. John got swept up in a polarizing debate over eminent domain. The St. John Town Council, comprised exclusively of 5 Republican members, voted to seize private residences for a commercial development, something that would piss nearly anybody off. Yorktown dealt with this. I fight eminent domain any chance I get. Eminent domain is of the devil. All right. Some residents were unhappy because of this decision and would have primarily affected lower income homeowners who had been living in the area all their lives. They formed a local political action committee to elect 2 independent candidates for town council running against the incumbent. Pro-development candidates. All right. So not Democrats, not even libertarians, just independent. Hero lent his support to the effort. Longtime Republican, had been a Republican chairman of the county. Lent his support and offered legal advice, posting yard signs, making his opinions publicly known. According to Hero, the issue was not partisan. One of the independent candidates was also a Republican, and this election was the only instance in which he openly campaigned for the defeat of another Republican candidate. The state Republican Party, however, caught wind of Hero's efforts to oust Republican incumbents. The year after the contentious events, Hero ran to retain his position as St. John Precinct committeeman and delegate to the Republican State Convention. Republican Party officials determined that because he supported one independent candidate or 2 in that race in a town council election, he could not serve in the capacity of a committeeman or a delegate. Shortly after, Hero received a letter from the state chairman of the Republican Party informing him that for the next 10 years, he was not a Republican in good standing. Who the hell do they think they are? Who? How can they say he's not a Republican in good standing? Folks, I'm fired up. This crap makes me disgusted. We need to get back to common sense.
Oh, I
Common
agree
sense.
that it's bullshit that they banned him from the party, but them trying to use this as their reason for throwing her off is crap. He was banned
Yeah.
by the state.
Right. So I mean,
He's
I
never
don't.
been banned.
I don't even understand. Yeah, I don't. Well, let me tell you. Let me
She's
tell
been
you what's
banned from the
happening here.
Democrats now, apparently.
Yeah. So let me tell you what happens here. Kate coming in and undercutting me. So let me tell you what's happening in Randolph County.
No.
The Republican Party officials determined that because Hero supported the independent candidates, that he was not allowed to be a Republican for 10 years. Undeterred by the letter, in 2019, Hero declared his candidacy for an at-large seat on St. John Town Council because it doesn't matter what they say. He could still pull a Republican ballot and vote, and he voted Republican in 2 elections, or at 1 election at that time, but all those other elections because he was a longtime Republican supporter. Under Indiana law at that time, there are 3 ways to appear on an election ballot. First, a candidate of a major political party can file a declaration of candidacy for party if either he or she voted in the primary election at that time, or the county chairman certifies that the candidate is a member of the political party. Second, a candidate can run as an independent by obtaining 2% of the total votes cast in the last election. Third, a candidate can appear as a write-in option. Despite meeting the requirements to appear as the Republican primary ballot in 2019, the chairman of Lake County Republican Party and a member of the Lake County Council challenged Hero's candidacy. The Lake County Election Board held the hearing on February 26, 2019. Hero explained that he met the requirements under the Indiana law. Well, I'm not going to go on and read you the rest of this. You guys can go and read this for yourself, but I want to let you know, because the party banned him, they were able to use that to say he could not run. Hero versus Lake, look it up. So this is what the Randolph County Republican idiots used to kick someone off who complies with the law. Man, I'm telling you, when you tell someone you have to comply with this law in order for you to do something that is a God-given right that the Constitution protects the government from interfering with, and you put these restrictions on, and the person still complies and says, okay, I'll vote twice, and then you say, no, we're going to take that away. When you back someone into a corner, you get what you get. I mean, I don't know what they're doing. They are really making serious mistakes and missteps everywhere. This has been the year of, we don't care how hypocritical we look, we're going to do it anyways. And folks, I want to let you know, you can watch tomorrow as we go through this process at the Delaware County Election Board, and who knows what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm ready and I'm prepared, but as long as they're willing to be hypocritical in full view of cameras and the whole public, there's very little we can do. Very little. So today in Randolph County, they made the terrible, terrible, terrible mistake of kicking her off, blaming it on this Hero versus Lake. I hope she files suit. I hope she takes it to court, and I hope she smashes their ass in court. It's disgusting what they're doing. So she gets home from this hearing. And let me tell you what the Democrat Party did. The Democrat Party, as Kate said just a few moments ago, contacted her and notified her that she was now banned from being a Democrat. So essentially what they've done, in God-fearing Winchester, Randolph County, right in the heart of the Bible Belt, Indiana, God's gun country, God, country, guns, Bible, church, politics, republicanism, the Constitution, doing your duties as a citizen. I wasn't going to say that other name. They have literally handcuffed a woman who's done right her entire life. Husband, they pay their taxes, they've got some kids. Kids go to school, they go to work, they live their life, they do right. Family members they love, they're in the community, they do things in the community. Someone that's been politically active for her entire life.
Now, to be fair, I will say this for the clerk here in Randolph County. She voted to keep her on the ballot.
Yeah, it was a vote of 2-1. Kate is right. Kate is absolutely right. Mindy Peed did the right thing. Now I'm going to file and I'm going to get the, someone told me there's a recording of this. I'm going to fight to get the recording of it because I want to play it and make fun of everybody. But I'm going to get it. It's so disgusting, man. They are handcuffing folks. This is disgusting. I don't care if you're a Republican and you hate Democrats. I don't care if you're a Democrat and you hate Republicans. I'm going to tell you all out there, knock that shit off. Let's wake up. It's time to start realizing that it's not us against each other, folks. It's us against them, the government, the people that are in power. Political parties in Indiana, Kate's been saying this for a while, and I like this. Political parties in Indiana have become cults. Political parties in Indiana have become cults. I think that is a fair statement. I think that's very fair. So this is disgusting. I hope that Karen fights this. We might try to have Karen on coming up here in the future. We're going to see what goes on. I think it's gross. I think what they're doing is gross. I cannot believe that they can sleep soundly. It's absolutely sick. All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving on from there, we're going to go to the Delaware County Council meeting, okay? We're going to go to the Delaware County Council meeting, and I'm going to tell you guys, this meeting was an important meeting. This meeting today was a meeting in which the council was supposed to do a couple different things. They were going to be voting on the dealing with the solar situation, whether they were going to be repealing or repealing their vote, taking back the vote on the tax abatement, which is what the citizens wanted. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, sorry, something was going on there. I was like, what's that noise? That didn't sound like the, give me a second here. Okay, here we go. All right, let me get back to the comments here. Rebecca Kroom said it's like organized cartel. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. Okay. This is going to be an interesting because I actually watched the public hearing and I did not watch this. So we're going to be watching this together. I about freaked out this morning when I found out that because I was actually live streaming the state meeting. And when I found out that this meeting was still going at like noon, I was like, what is going on? But then I remembered they had two different meetings today. So this is the first meeting they had. This was at 9 a.m. And this is the actual Delaware County Council meeting. Okay. So they're in the Pledge of Allegiance here. And let me ask, is Counselor Ryan Webb here?
Second.
Motion by Matt, second by Dan. Roll call, please.
Whoa, pause,
Yes.
stop,
Excuse.
back up.
Pants. Yes.
Hold on. Kate, is what you said in the private chat, is that something that can be talked about? All right. Well, we've got some information that we're working on, but we cannot release it just yet. So I'll keep you guys posted. All right. Webb, are you here? Let me text Webb. And the only reason I'm asking him is I need to just yeah, no, I know all that. I'm asking where the first part of the what fighting. Okay. All right, we're gonna watch the first part of this here and just see what happens.
Vogel. Yes. Webb. Yes. Wyatt. Yes. Piper.
Yes. All right, now I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the January 23rd council meeting minutes.
Statement, something to show where the money's going, an estimate, whatever it may be. And I want to commend you for providing that invoice. So it's only $25, but you followed through with it, and that's exactly what I was asking for. So thank you.
Basically, Ryan had asked people when they come looking for money to bring them an invoice of what it was, and the guy did it, and Ryan was giving thanks. That's a good thing.
Yes. Mr. Hughes. Yes. Mr. Cantz. Yes. Mr. Vogel. Yes. Help from the state, correct? Yes. So your budget was a little bit different from everyone else's, where it was better to actually increase versus try to trim it.
Okay, any additional questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan. Yes. Mr. Hughes. Yes. Mr. Cantz. Yes. Mr. Vogel. Yes. Mr. Webb. Yes. Ms. Wyatt. Yes. Ms. Piper.
Yes.
Thank you, council.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Lit Jail, 1170-145. The first two, D.
So they're just doing regular transfer, not like they normally do. If you guys are interested in hearing that, and that is an important part of the Delaware County Council process, you can go back and watch this. This is on the Delaware County government
Hearing none, roll call,
YouTube
please.
page. We want to get to a
None,
couple
roll call, please.
specific points.
Mr. Flanagan. Yes. Mr.
935, 310 contractual, 325,760.65 for a total of 325,760.65.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Dan. Would you like to tell us a little bit about this bridge?
So this is the community crossing grant that you guys approved the funding for last year. It did not get added on to Angie's encumbrance list, so that's why we're coming back and asking for it.
Okay.
Could you state for the record what bridge has been replaced?
Yes, so it's Bridge 86, and it is
So
on
it's about
County.
the 50-minute mark. Sheriff's up. They're talking about random, just normal everyday stuff that is just the business of the county. If you guys want to go back through and watch this, it is important stuff. I'm not saying it's not, but we've got a lot to cover, and I want to hit the highlights.
You're just appropriating those monies.
Yes.
Any additional questions? Yes. All right. Moving on to ordinances and resolutions, we have the second reading of our update to the salary ordinance, previously known as 2023-016.
This is very important, folks. I want you to listen right here to what gets ready to happen.
You should all have a copy that is now 2024-01. This goes back to page 4. Bullet D, part-time level 4. It's a pay rate range of $20 per hour up to $25 per hour at the discretion of the elected official or department head. Types of jobs included are accounting, bookkeeping, payroll, legal, secretaries, court-related, clerical positions requiring advanced computer skills, grants and operations, and positions that affect county liabilities. an advanced education college degree or minimum of 5 years prior experience of applicable job is related experience required. So we talked about this at our meeting on the 16th. This is just our second reading to put this into place.
Was there any changes?
There were no changes, correct?
No substantive changes, no, just the signature lines got moved around. But
Oh, that's right,
none of the text that is being amended was changed.
we had to make you the president pro tempore.
We're going to go over that, Joey,
want
what
that
happened on
anymore?
Facebook. We'll show you.
Do you have any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about this just a little bit. In my experience with private companies and talking to others in the private sector, it always seems like there are multiple people who decide on salaries versus just a singular person. I think that this needs to have something in there that says maybe HR or some other entity besides just an elected official, department head, singular person would make this decision. Right now, the way it's written, I don't think I can be in favor of it.
I'm glad to hear you say that because I share your concerns. I'm not in favor of it for that reason as well. And a couple more. Number one, as I stated in the previous council meeting, I would be okay with the pay rate going from $15 to $20 and it being a set pay rate because $15 an hour isn't really a lot of money at all. Really is 20, but it's a heck of an improvement. It's a 25% increase. I do not at all favor the scale going from $20 to $25 for a couple of reasons. Number one, paper, it's easy to say, well, so-and-so will do the hiring and so-and-so will determine the rate. What tends to happen in situations like that is someone has the opportunity to hire a friend and they're going to pay him the max rate at $25 an hour.
It's almost like he knows what he's talking about in this situation.
County government, and we are being asked to forfeit that control of setting the salary to whoever hires this individual. The other concerns I have is that I've received a ton of calls since our last meeting from fellow county employees, and I brought this up at our last meeting. Full-time workers, most of them work about 32 and a half hours a week in this building and other county government jobs. Part-time is 29 hours, and I know there's a lot of people who
Joey.
They express concern that they've got 15 years in and they're sitting here at $18 an hour and there's someone hires in next to them working 29 hours a week, just 3 hours less and making $25 an hour doing the same job. And that's going to leave a bad taste in their mouth. So I absolutely don't like the sliding scale of it. I'd be in favor of the 20 an hour, but not the range from 20 to 25.
I think something that we brought up at our last meeting too was a couple things. Part-time employees don't have benefits. And also too that if the department head, they only have an allotted amount of money in their part-time budget. So if they choose to pay someone at a higher rate at the 25, let's say, that's on them to make sure they stay within their budget. They would have to come before us to increase that part-time. And we can say no at that time.
Ooh, but do you ever say no, Jessica?
Our foot down, Ryan, but we don't get to determine how many people they hire at part-time. That's all at the discretion of either the elected official who is chosen to do that role or the department heads. I'm not opposed to having someone else sign off on this since it is like that one of the higher paid part-time salary. It is the highest part-time salary. And these people too come back, we talked about this also at our last meeting, that the folks who would be coming in to do this type of work would have a skill set that if we had to hire an outside contractor would cost us significantly more money than using part-time, but.
I'm concerned with what he said about having someone, I like that idea, but who's that going to be? And if we say HR,
David.
commissioners tell you to hire somebody at that rate, that's what's going to happen. Plain and simple. So that, again, it's one of those things that looks good on paper, but in the real world, it doesn't get applied fairly.
Matt, you had a comment?
I don't understand what you mean by that.
What I mean by that is we've had employees that don't qualify for the standards that we set for county government, and the commissioners say, I want that employee hired, and that employee gets hired. So in this particular instance, if somebody higher up in HR orders HR to give them a $25 rate, then that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's obvious, but that could happen at any level or any position theoretically. And I don't disagree with what you're saying overall, Ryan, but I believe that the reason that this was put forth and the way Ed explained it previously and what Jessica just tried to state relative to, having some flexibility to have a part-time level that could be brought in lieu of hiring outside folks does potentially save us money. But Eugene has a totally valid point, and I would put something else in there if possible, because at the discretion of the elected official or department as worded here is the only, unless I'm missing it, that's the only level that states that, correct? Okay. I mean, there's no other, the way we have that worded is basically just says that particular person's, discretion, which again is trying to offer the flexibility, but at the same time, to Eugene's point, is perhaps ripe for problems. I'm not aware of any other categories that have.
Cindy, let's go back to that comment. First of all, I want to say that noise sounds like someone's making popcorn is their janky, expensive system that they paid for with janky sound. That's not me. That's their bullshit sound. I hate it. Number two, we need more of these kind of people in the council. Ryan, someone has an agenda and he knows it. Let me tell you. In this specific instance, it's Ed Carroll who has the agenda. And let me tell you, for all you people that are watching from Henry County, Ed Carroll is wanting to hire his bestest buddy in the whole wide world, his life partner, Chad Malacote. Okay? And Ryan and everyone else is aware of this, and it's like, well, maybe we want to stop this. Man, everybody else just wants to kiss Ed's ass and do whatever Ed wants and let Ed continue on doing little Hatch Act violations and not working and not taking out taxes on the EMS and Sheriff's Department deputies, so their taxes are all screwed up, and not paying the light bills out at the EMS station and not paying credit card bills. And they want to keep all of that crap under the rug. And we want to hire our little forever life partner, Chad Malacote, to be our wingman in the office, and I don't know what he does. I don't know if he gives Ed back rubs or what they do exactly. But, I think that you're right. I think Ryan, in this case, sees through what they're trying to do. And let me say, David is right. Ryan's the only one on the council like this. The only one on the council like this. Ryan needs help. All right? That woman there in yellow, let me be really clear. There's a girl in pink that would look better in that seat and would be better in that seat and would do better mind work than Jessica, and that would be Amber Green. And then the guy on the end over here, Eugene Whitehead, well, Mr. David Williams would be better in that seat than what Eugene is. So we could replace Amber for Jessica for Amber, excuse me. We could replace Jessica with Amber, and we could replace Whitehead with Williams, and then Ryan would have a little bit more help. That would be 2 extra people, and then people like Matt Kantz, who's coming along and is doing a good job, and I appreciate what Matt's been doing lately, and other people, that we would finally have some people in place in Delaware County that would probably be looking out for the citizens of Delaware County more than themselves and their friends and the people who they are, beholden to.
And to be clear, what we're talking about is for us forfeiting our
site at discretion. Currently, we have that discretion. They would have to come up to that podium and say, I want to hire this person, I want to pay them that money.
Exactly like Delaware or Madison County. Bethany Keller needs help. You are right.
We don't vote on their part-time employees.
We vote on the salary.
We vote on the amount that they have in that bucket for however many employees they choose
What'd you
to
say?
hire.
You set the salary. We got it at 15 right now.
About the actual rate.
Yeah, I'm talking about
Yeah, but
setting the
that's,
salary.
it's still on the department head to stay within the means of
Good,
the
that's-
part-time budget. that we
You're right,
give them every
David, and that's a
year.
good question, Kate.
I'd like to make a motion if I could.
Sure.
I'd like to move to amend, section 9, subpart D, I, strike the language that's in there and make it read pay rate of $20 per hour, period.
Second.
Good.
By Bill, second by Ryan. Any further discussion? We vote on the amendment, correct?
Watch Ed.
So.
I hope it
roll
shows
call on
him.
the amendment.
Ms. Blanken? Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes?
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes.
Oh, damn it. David, what did he do?
I'd like to move for the adoption of ordinance 2024-01 as amended. Second.
I had a motion from Bill. Was the second Dan or Eugene?
Me.
Dan? All right, roll call, please.
Ms. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes. Great. Thank you. Moving on to appointments and committee reports. Do we have any from the council or? Hearing none. Any old? Oh, you have one? Great.
Tax abatement committee met yesterday with the applicant, and that will be coming to the March meeting. I encourage them to get information out to the council well in advance.
Great. Any other committees? Okay, I don't have anything old business. Any new business? And we'll move on to elected officials and department heads.
What's wrong with Jessica? Wow. You see, there goes a sheriff, Henry County. That's what a sheriff in a sheriff looks like, folks.
Tony Skinner, Delaware County Sheriff. This is usually information that I give in January, but it's February this year. So we'll start off with the front page. Meal cost. I do this twice a year. There are two categories on the front part of the top part of the page. The first one was the first 6 months. The second one was the second 6 months, and then right in the middle of the page, you see that meal costs for the entire year. Meal costs for the jail averaged $1.72 this year. I do want you to take note in the top part where the first 6 months it was $1.89.
Okay, here we go. We're gonna get. This is
The
just
second 6
routine
months, that
stuff
went down
again.
to $1.60.
You can go back and watch this. We're gonna go up here now to the building commissioner. The Delaware County building
so we're-
commissioner has some kind of meltdown.
so
Apparently, I've heard
And
there's a couple people said he's had
Center, nine.
some kind of meltdown, I guess, of some sort. I don't really know if maybe he was feeling under the weather today.
We've got
Last year.
we've got momentum with that program. It took a long time. It took literally almost a year longer than we thought it would to get that contract signed and get this in place, but it's rolling now, yeah. Yep.
Buy somebody a few more lunches, we could get a few more of those federal inmates.
At $1.72, I'll buy them all the lunch they can eat.
Sheriff, we appreciate this.
Here we go,
I realize
folks.
you thought it was 11 months
Watch
later.
this.
I think
Watch this
agree
crazy
with,
meltdown that happens here. I don't even understand what this is.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. All right, who's next?
Good morning. Steve Foster, Building Superintendent for Justice Center 911 in this building. First start off with updates. I don't know if you guys know much on what's going on. I think some of you was involved last week with the gas leak next door. According to the fire department, it was minute, but it was about 4 foot high, full of gas in that whole basement of the whole jail. I don't know about you, but minute blew that thing right off the foundation. So that was taken care of. We also had an air handler that we had some freezing out there and busted some air handlers, and
Interesting.
we're getting that taken care of. Insurance, so that's going good. But I think the bigger thing is the roof.
The what? The what? Oh, the roof.
I wants to know about it, so let me go over the roof issue. So the roof has been put on. The roof is complete.
Been put on. The roof is
complete. The roof has no leaks in the shingled roof. No leaks. There's
no leaks. There's no leaks anywhere. We heard it here, folks. There's no leaks anywhere out there. Well, goody.
Do we have leaks? Yes, we have. We had one leak in the adult.
Oh, there are leaks. Okay.
Probation, which was actually the pipe.
Oh, it's pipe.
Leaking. We had a leak in Corporal Brown's area, which was the flat roof, which was a drain. Jeremy Dye's area was 4 leaks. Jeremy's was actually
We have no leaks. Well, we got some leaks. We've got a leak over here, and we've got a leak over there, and we've got a leak over here, but we've got no leaks. This dude, it was born for government.
Sprinkler line. So the other one was the gable end. We had some from the vents. We had a leak there. We had 2 condensation leaks. But then let me reiterate, there is no leaks. I'm also going to address the contract or the winning of the bids. That was me. I got the bids. They were sealed bids. I took 3 people on the roof. I researched, so I didn't have this problem. The gentleman that done the roof is not, never has, never will be any relation to Commissioner King.
I don't know why this man is saying this. I don't know why. Like, let me tell you. Let me explain this. This man is saying why this guy feels like he has to take this upon. I mean, if he's doing this, like, folks, this is campaigning. What he's doing is campaigning. This guy is no way related to James King. No way, no how, no way. But James King says that they were connected and there was a connection, and he didn't know, he shouldn't know, whatever. This is bullshit.
Putting roofs on buildings that have leaks. Brand new roof, and it leaks.
Yeah, right.
A new building with a brand new roof, and it leaks. It could be.
He's saying that there are what?
Could be because we're hiring the cheapest people to do this stuff because it's my buddy.
The wrong people to do it.
Yeah, well, not necessarily even the cheapest. We saw that with the last roof.
Yeah, right.
Can you please translate what he's saying? Because I'm pretty sure that he's like Catherine said, had way too many mimosas for breakfast.
Yeah, right. So I wanna say this to Jackie, and I know I'm kind of being facetious. I get that he's saying that there are no leaks in the roof, the top part of the jail at the Justice Center. Now, I'm telling you guys from what I have heard, we're gonna watch all of it. We got a lot of shit to get through. We're not even halfway through everything yet, folks. We're gonna get there, but I stop and talk about different points. So first of all, listen, I'm just telling you what people have told me. When people who work there tell me they are having leaks that are coming from the roof, the roof is it's not on fire, it's underwater. I just got to go by what they're telling me. I'm not there. It's not raining on my head. So, all right, listen, I'll take his word for it. If he wants to say that the leaks are coming from pipes and coming from the wall and coming from the floor, I'll take his word for it until we find out differently. What he's saying here is insane. James King is connected or has had a connection in life to the roofer, to the contractor. Are they married right now? Are they husband and husband? No. Are they son and father, mother and brother, sister and uncle, aunt and uncle? No. That's probably not the case. James King had a connection to the contractor that did the roof. They can stand up here and lie all they want to about this. This makes this guy look bad. I'm sad that King put him in this spot to do this. He shouldn't have done this. And in my opinion, this is campaigning. This is something that should not be going on. This is something that should not be happening because he's doing this only because James King is up for election right now. If King wasn't up for election right now, this wouldn't be happening. Okay? So I just want to make that clear. And I think it's gross. I don't think that it should be happening. And I think that, we need to just take a look at what's happening here because I don't really like it. It's not fair. And they should be stopping him from doing this. This shouldn't be happening. This is not good. It's not good that this is happening. Let me see here. Give me 1 second here. Damn it. Okay, let me go on with it here.
I done that because if he needed to be, he needed to.
Steve Foster, by the way. I think Jackie said, who is the building superintendent? It's Steve Foster. Steve Foster is the guy that is up at the podium right now.
Waiver. I got all the personal bids myself. I turned them in to the lawyer. They opened them all up here. I did not take bribes. I did not show people bids. That's a fact. I've been accused of that once before, and I proved.
No, nobody. I've not. What? I didn't make that accusation. I don't know who's making that accusation. I've not heard any. This guy is a nobody. I've not heard this. No one has made any claims about this guy. Any claim. Let's just get that straight. No one on this program has made any claim about this gentleman right here at all. He's not involved. He's just going to do what his bosses say. That's all. I feel sorry for him. He's doing what his bosses say. I don't blame him for anything. So yeah, I don't know what he's talking about here.
That situation wrong. When I took the job 6 months into the job, I had an HVAC guy say I took a bribe and showed the person a bid, and they won the bid. The bid was $9,100 cheaper. Do you think if I showed the bid to the other guy, he would have come $9,000 cheaper? No. Address me if you have any problems, not the commissioners. I took care of the roof.
Address me if you have any problems. Dude, you're not elected, bro. No, that's not how it works. He's like, oh, the commissioners are the elected people, but address me because the shit rolls downhill. No, in politics, bro, and in government, the shit rolls uphill. All right, let's get this straight. You don't get to throw yourself on the sword for this. I've heard that this gentleman was maybe it's a misunderstanding. I've heard that this guy was fired from maintenance from superintendent maintenance at the hospital. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm addressing him now. That's all I've heard. I don't know anything about that. I guess you do a good job. I don't care. My beef is not between you and me or the public and you. You don't get to put yourself in that. You're a you don't get to fall on that sword for the commissioners. I will address the commissioners. Thank you very much.
I turned them in. They was open here. I asked a local contractor if he wanted to be on the job. I'm not going to mention the name. They did not want to bid against the job. I done this job completely right. I got the 3 bids I want. Did I take recommendations for people? Sure I did. But
this guy seems real paranoid.
The cheapest bid. The drip edge does not, got it right here, from MBS. The drip edge was not in the bid. It does not void the warranty. MBS has sent me a signed documentation saying they will back the roof. And I personally inspect that roof for myself multiple days, even when the job's finished. If there is maybe a dent or something in the fascia or something like that, we can fix it. The fascia does not have to be replaced. It is a commercial building. It does not have to be replaced. 2 reasons we didn't replace it. It didn't need replaced. And number 2, if I turned the fascia, it would be a whole different color and we would see it on the building. That was the decision I made. I'm the building superintendent. I think I can do that. So that being said, I want to address another thing. We've had everybody come up and talk about the jail. We've had them talk about wages. Last year, the commissioners came with me trying to get a full-time employee. Part of that full-time employee, I had to give up overtime. And I did. Everybody had to give up money. And then we turn around and the council gave people money and this, that, and the other. We talk about the jail. We talk about the federal inmates. We talk about all the money and everything. That jail is ran by 2 maintenance guys, me being the 3. 2. So there's 3 people 24/7, 365 days a year that runs that building. So when we have to go in after hours, you know what? We don't get paid for that. It's called a comp time. Me personally, and I have 230 comp hours plus what I get a year from vacation and everything else. I don't have the time to use that. I got another one's got 150. I got another one that has 130 because, people say they can't go down to Indianapolis and they can't watch their grandkids, this, that, and the other. I was literally going this weekend in Missouri trying to see my grandkids.
What is this?
I got back at 10 o'clock. I got a call from the Justice Center. I got a call at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Is this guy okay? What?
You're the department head. If shit needs done, guess what, buddy? You get to go in and take care of it.
Yeah, right. That's your job. Not falling on the sword for the commissioners. It's this kind of shit that is your job. What is going on here?
What the hell is he talking about?
I don't understand. I wish look at the person behind him. Look at her face behind him the whole time. He's talking. Look at her.
The next time I get a call at 2 o'clock in the morning and the toilet is full and I have to go in and get gloves on and dig it out, give me your number. I'll call you. You can come in. You can ride along. The next time my employee.
Whoa, dude, this guy is wildly out of line. I mean, this guy, I can't even begin. This is wildly inappropriate.
You're the building superintendent. If something goes wrong at 2 o'clock in the morning, guess what? You're the high man on the totem pole.
Yeah.
You have to go take care of it.
Now, what's funny here is David Williams is saying he's talking to Webb. That's not the only person I've heard say that today. I've not talked to Ryan. Ryan and I just have talked right here when I was asking him what time period the last thing was.
It keeps coming up in the comments. Maybe you can answer this. Is he a salaried position?
Yes. He's a department head.
You're on duty 24/7, bitch.
Wait, back up. Hold on. I guess Ryan will have to answer that. Webb, if you're still here, is he a salaried position? You're the counselor. You answer this. I can't. I guess I can't answer that 100%. is he a salaried position, or is he what's the deal? Because he keeps talking about comp time and stuff and not getting paid overtime. So I want to make sure what this man is. Yes, Julie, this man is the county building superintendent is what he is. He works for the commissioners, and to my knowledge, he is appointed by the commissioners. I think he's a department head. I'll have to wait to see what Ryan says here. I believe that he is paid salary. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe Ryan can answer that for us, or if anybody else here knows for sure. I believe he's salary. Well, I'll believe that until I hear otherwise. Okay, let's continue on with this.
Rides around on a tractor in 20 below zero in nothing but just a tractor. It's a lawnmower. So I praise all these other departments, but I tell you what, you know, I've got two guys that runs that 24/7. And, you know, I've talked to the commissioners. They've tried to find everywhere to pay us for that compensation for 230 hours. I don't think there's a person up here that would work. They come in every day, and I come in every day if it's called in after hours. And knowing that they may get that time, one of them's 54, so the way the council, the way you guys pay out and the way everybody pays out, he has to retire in 13 years. So he's liable to have 1 billion hours comp time he's got to be paid out. That's why we ask for overtime. That's why we ask for the council to put overtime in. Because these guys and I am expected to just come in and work, and you may get paid, you may not. Just depending on how you do it. So that's what I'm trying to get at you. We don't take bribes. I got two hardworking staff. I understand everybody else does, but I don't think the council and everybody understands. There's one gentleman that runs this building. This building's not too bad. There's two gentlemen that run that building out there. Them needs money to take these buildings. Every time we come up and ask you guys for money, you fight it. You're going to have to put money in these buildings, folks. You're going to have to work with the commissioners, because these meetings, all these other meetings are not going to exist if you don't start taking care. I think you made the comment, a lot of you made the comment about the $6 million. We have it. We need it for a rainy day. It's a rainy day, folks. You've got 3 buildings. You have to take care of them. You have to maintenance them. You have to start working together, and you have to start working with me and my staff. And I hope that you guys look at the comp hours and maybe see it in your hearts to figure out how to pay us.
This
But
is nuts.
if you have any more issues about thinking if we're corrupt, taking bribes, letting our friends or whatever, I'll leave you all my business card, but it's not. Come to me, but I will be back at every meeting to address that. I'm not corrupt. I do what's best for these people, these voters out here, and for you. I wouldn't embarrass any of you. I wouldn't embarrass the commissioner, and most of all, I wouldn't embarrass myself. I got more pride in myself for that. So with that, I am done. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other elected officials, department heads?
Holy shit.
All right, do we have anyone sign up for public comment? Do we have any public comment? All right, comments from the council. You have any comments, I think, Mr. White?
Here we go, folks. We're getting ready to hear some crazy stuff here now. I kind of almost like that guy. I like how he just kind of did a dry mic drop. Like, look, I don't know. I apologize. I apologize if that man thinks that I've ever said anything about him being corrupt. Listen, I know who he is because I've seen him around. I didn't know his name. I couldn't have picked him out of a lineup. What?
What's his name?
Stephen Foster.
Stephen Foster. Why in 2023 is he listed in Gateway as being the, oh shit, where'd it go? Foster. The head bookkeeper?
I don't know.
The dude makes $60,600 a year.
Well, you know, you said what? Where is he?
He's in the Indiana Gateway.
Yeah.
Go to Delaware County. Go and find his name.
I have him listed in November of 1854 as writing Swanee River and old folks at home. Now,
I think that Stephen is actually spelled differently than this Stephen. That's
okay.
PH. This one's with a V.
Okay, I should have. All right, that was my mistake. I needed the
You
Stephen.
do kind of get that banjo vibe when he's talking.
Right. Jesus.
Yeah, it says head bookkeeper.
That's probably the problem.
For the commissioners.
That's probably
$60,600 a year in 2023.
Yeah, I think.
Why do you have a bookkeeper cleaning out toilets? And if you've got two guys at the jail 24/7, why is he going out at 2:00 to scoop shit?
Why aren't they making David? I gotta say, listen, Mr. Foster, I apologize. If you have thought that I have made any accusation of you being corrupt, I've been speaking about your friends, the commissioners. I've never spoke about you, sir. I apologize completely. Okay. He is absolutely not the head bookkeeper. I would have to say that he's probably not related to the Foster that the Clintons sent away either. All right, we got to go on. We got a lot more to listen to here, folks.
Ahead, maybe.
Yeah, I'd like to say a few things. First off, with what John Catino and Kyle Johnson did, I think that's great. I think it's going to benefit the county and forward thinking on their part to get that done, especially for the eclipse. I think that's going to be good use for the eclipse and then good use for the county going forward. I'd like to thank Tommy Humbert and his staff all out at the county building Saturday. For those of you that were out early in the morning, it was icy. It was dangerous. And I followed a sand truck going to work, and the gentleman went on over a hill. It was real icy, and I watched him turn around and come back and resalt that hill, which means a lot to me because I live right close to a severe, what I call, sloped hill. And that safety and that extra effort means a lot to me, Tommy. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you.
I'd like to commend the extension office for their annual meeting, Justin Curley and all his staff.
Listen to this guy's campaigning. Why are we campaigning on
just how much of an impact they make on the community, how many students and children they teach.
By the way, I'm running for office.
So I'd like to commend the extension office. Most of all, I'd like to thank the sheriff's office. Sheriff Skinner, thank you for the opportunity to ride. I'd like to thank Lieutenant Lopez, Corporal Ward, deputies Waters, Branson, Brown, Russell, Robbins,
Jesus.
Parker. I'd planned just to ride for about 6 hours, 8 hours at the most. Some of you know that there was an incident on Wheeling where there was a lot of sheriff's officer manpower there. I got to sit in a car with a full vest on for at least 7 hours. And what comes down to is, while there was a lot of waiting, all of the important parts got put together. The sheriff's officers, along with the U.S. Marshals, executed a search warrant. The bad guy got arrested and put to jail. What really means the most to me, though, is the neighbors of this particular home came out and were giving sheriff officers hugs because they knew
what in the
bad guy was being
absolute
and their children
hell.
are not going to be safe.
Listen, thank you, Sheriff Skinner. You guys kick ass. You guys do a great job. This guy's campaigning. I've never heard him say any of this shit ever before. Oh my God.
All right, do we have any additional comments from council?
Yeah, I have some comments. Glad you got to do that ride along. Those are.
Now listen to this. It's been so nice and loving, and then Ryan talks.
Interesting to say the least. I've always enjoyed doing it. And thanks to the sheriff for allowing that. I think anybody can do a ride along. All you gotta do is get in touch with them. You don't have to be elected official to do a ride along. Just reach out to the sheriff and they'll put you in a position. Kudos, Mr. Foster, for his comments earlier. And I think transparency is important. It's one of the things I've based my my entire time as an elected official on is transparency. And I'm glad that he spoke and
Ryan, damn it.
offered a little bit.
Going to have to teach you, brother, to get in front of that damn microphone so we can hear you. Listen, you are clearly way off from center from that. You got to get in front of that thing, brother, and enunciate loudly.
Of transparency for some things that may be uncertain. So thank him for that. And what I wanted to say is, in addition to his comments, our county government, our local government, our city government cannot operate without transparency. Transparency has to be at the forefront of every decision that we make. Hold each other accountable for your accountability. Definitely confidence in the citizens. You can't have confidence in your local government without the transparency. And let's be honest, the last few years, not the county government, but local city government. You know, there was some issues. There was some issues that caused some people to go to jail, and it kind of rocked people's confidence in their local government. So we have a higher standard to meet to overcome that, because that's occurred. I've been contacted, and I'm sure other people have been contacted. I'm not unique in that aspect of people reach out to me when they have concerns, but I've been contacted by county employees who can't speak out. They can't use their voice because they're worried about their position, they're worried about their job, they're worried about their family's jobs. Shouldn't be that way, but in real life it is. Been contacted by fellow elected officials and department heads. Same thing. They're not in a position to use their voice. They reach out to someone who will be their voice. And I made a promise that I will be that voice, whether it casts a negative shadow or whether it affects friendships with fellow employees, department heads, elected officials, whatever. That's not what we signed up to do this job for. We signed up to do this job to represent the people. And if you make some friendships along the way, that's great. But if you do what you're supposed to do and that costs some friendship, then it is what it is. That's the cost of doing business. That's what happens when you do the right thing. And what I'm leading to is all of you people, the department heads, the elected officials, you citizens who've reached out over the last 3 months and who have been desperate for some answers and want to know what in the world is going on, and you have concerns and questions about how your tax dollars are being spent. I'm speaking to you directly right now, okay? And I want you to know that I have heard your message and I'm going to be the voice for you. And I have reached out to the state board of accounts that I've requested a forensic audit. And I feel that's the best way for transparency to show itself and to prove to everyone that we are doing what we're supposed to be doing. If you're not going to hear it from our voices, you can hear it from a third-party source whose job it is to hold us accountable. So I'm not going to name individual departments, but there's a couple departments in specific that we'll be focusing on. But I just want you to know that I've heard what you said, I've reached out, and people are doing the right thing for you. They are representing you, and they want you to have confidence and faith in your local government. And if that means an audit is what it takes to prove that and help deliver that faith, then so be it. That's what we'll do. So I just wanted to make that announcement, let you know that I've taken your concerns to the next level, and we'll see where it goes from there. Thank you.
All right, do you have anything else? Don't have any additional comments this time other than stick around. In about 10 minutes after we wrap up this meeting, we will move to our public hearing for the solar farm. So stick around. I believe that will be a separate YouTube video. So if you're watching online, you'll want to refresh your live stream page to get to that new video. Other than that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Eugene. Roll call, please.
Ms. Flanagan. Yes.
All right, I want to talk about what Ryan just said there, and I agree with Ryan 1,000%. I am glad that he did that, and now that I have heard that he has done that, I too will reach out to the State Board of Accounts, and I'm going to pass along the same information that I've heard, because as Ryan has stated, I too have been reached out by a lot of people, citizens. I've been reached out by employees. I've been reached out by department heads, either the head, the department head, or the deputy, chief deputy, and some elected officials as well, questioning aspects of what's going on. And I know that Ryan is not afraid to say what he thinks, and I know that Ryan's got a reason for everything that he does, and that, good, bad, or indifferent, that's what people like about him. That's also what people don't like about him. I'm going to go ahead and say that I've been hearing a lot of talk, and look, I don't know it's the same thing that Ryan's hearing. I have a belief that it probably is. I'm not making any secret about the fact that I'm hearing some serious issues when it comes to the auditor's office. The auditor's office in Delaware County is in a horrible position right now. The current auditor of Delaware County is Ed Carroll. Ed Carroll is the elected auditor. He's never had a challenger for that office. He probably needs a challenger very soon. Unlike Madison County, our auditor is not up for election this year. Our auditor was up for election 2 years ago. So we have Ed for another 2 years unless he resigns. Ed, if you want to resign, I would say go ahead and do it now. I would definitely respect you a little bit more if you did that right now. All right. You could go ahead and resign and say, hey, I was in over my head. I would definitely respect you a lot better. I would also like you to resign from the Delaware County Republican Party chairman position. I'd also like Jessica to resign. I don't think that you should be an elected official and also party chair or vice chair. I think that is a problem. However, whether you resign or not, we've got him for 2 more years, and 2 more years, if he's still there, if he's running for office, we do need to send somebody after him in the election, and we do need to beat his ass back to the private sector. He has no business in county government. I am hearing from citizens. I am hearing from employees. I am hearing from department heads and their chief deputies. I'm hearing from elected officials, just as Ryan said, and a lot of those people are talking about a lot of aspects of the government. They're talking about the commissioners. They're talking about HR. They're talking about a lot of different things that's happening. But overwhelmingly, they're talking about the auditor's office. Overwhelmingly, they're talking about the auditor's office. And folks, I am telling you, I have made a pledge that I am going to do a deep dive into Delaware County Auditor Ed Carroll and Madison County Weights and Measure Russ Willis. And by God, I'm just making it known that if there is anything wrong doing there, I want whatever is the highest of what can happen. If it's you leave office, great. If it's you talk to the police and you've got to deal through something with the court, great. If it's jail time, great. I want you guys to man up and leave or face whatever consequences come. If something's going on, I'm not saying it is, I'm saying if something is going on, you're going to have to wear that issue. You know, my dad used to say you could do whatever you wanted to in life as long as you're willing to pay the consequences. And I'm letting them know I feel like they've been doing whatever the hell they wanted to do, and now it's going to come up to where they're going to have to pay some consequences. So I just want that said. I am so happy to hear that Ryan made the call and that he's on that, and we're going to have to see what goes on. All right, we're now going to quickly just move over here to the Delaware County Council special meeting, and I'm going to let you guys hear a little bit about what goes on in this meeting. It is important that we hear a little bit about this. So the first person to go in the meeting was Hawthorne. Hawthorne did pretty good. They answered nearly all of the questions. There were some things that they were a little iffy on. I'm just going to let you hear this as the council was questioning them. This is I'm gonna go back here and let you guys hear their name. Let you hear the name. This has been somebody. I don't know if he said Pregrail or Pregrail or whatever. It's Ben. He's with the Hawthorne Solar Company. Okay, and I'm going to fast forward a lot through him because Hawthorne
You
doesn't
didn't have it on the screen, dear.
Oh, sorry. Are we here now? Oops, are we here now? Okay, let me go back so you can hear his name. Sorry.
You want to volunteer to go first, Hawthorne, or?
God, she's so annoying.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Ben Friedel with the Hawthorne Solar Project. Thank you for your invitation to join you this morning. Happy to be here. Sent a letter that you may have received yesterday. I sent it to Mr. Freeman. I expect he distributed.
He's got a very annoying face. I'm very annoyed with this guy just because of his face.
That letter were provided to the Tax Abatement Committee previously, and just offered a very brief.
Yeah, we're not going to listen to this guy. I was listening to this guy talk earlier with someone who was on the phone, and they were like, who in the hell are we listening to? What is going on with this?
The resolution was approved.
Okay. This guy is with Hawthorne, and they do not have a tax abatement with the county. Basically, they're kind of at the very early stages. And this guy answered a lot of the questions and was pretty straightforward with them.
How would your contracts with those landowners be affected? What is your clause? Like, how long do you have to pay those landowners if you walked away from the project?
It's a private agreement. To comment on my private agreements with private members of this community. But you mentioned that the majority of our expense has been associated with land agreements, and I don't think that that's an accurate assessment of how we handle our finances.
Sometimes I thought that he was a little schmarmy, like he's like, you know, I just don't listen. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't like these people. I don't like how any of this project has been ran, and I feel like Delaware County should have just canceled this out and started it all over with different shit because these people, there's just a bad taste in everybody's mouth, okay? So I'm going to fast forward from him, and I'm going to get to Invenergy because Invenergy is the guy, Invenergy is
right, so
who the problem has been with.
That is the tool that the federal government has chosen to use.
On our Meadow Forge project.
Okay, here's Invenergy.
Do you have any additional questions for Hawthorne?
Ben, thank you very much for
Thank
being
you.
here and taking that.
I'm going first.
And going first.
All right. Move on over to Meadow Forge and their update.
Yeah, thank you so much for the invitation. My name is Matt Muller, lead developer.
Now listen to Matt Muller. Now, folks, keep in mind, Invenergy is who all of the shit is with. This is the company who is on the line. They've got a tax abatement. We're trying to pull the tax abatement back. Listen to this shit show. He's here to notify them and answer questions. They're here to ask him questions and to get answers. Look, the county is looking at pulling the tax abatement back, and he's there to answer questions. Watch what happens.
This on our Meadow Forge project, Invenergy. In the last 2 years, since moratorium was passed, Invenergy has continued to develop projects throughout Indiana. We're in the process, probably next month, of completing our project in Clinton County, and we'll make our first EDA payment to them in April. We just broke ground on construction in Sullivan County, and we'll be making our first EDA payment to them in the next month, and expect to start 2 more construction projects on solar in Indiana this year.
We remain committed to building the 163 megawatt Meadow Forge solar project here in Delaware County. We expect to invest over the 155 million minimum investment required by the EDA. Invenergy will pay Delaware County the annual $200,000 EDA payment once we're in service. I know there was some confusion earlier about the provision that would grant us a tax credit for an EDA payment we'd already made. But just to be clear, what that is saying, for example, is if in year one we paid the $200,000 EDA payment at the beginning of the year, and later in the year we lost our abatement, then we would get a $200,000 tax credit for that we'd already contributed. I think our lawyer submitted a letter earlier this month clarifying it, but there's not like a new dollar situation that if we haven't paid anything, we're getting anything back.
Hold on 1 second. So you're saying we're not on the hook for $5 million. You would only be on the hook for whatever you've paid in.
That provision is what it's stating is about making us whole if we've already paid something on the year. So it's a very common clause. It's in other EDAs with other companies that we've seen.
How old is this kid? 12?
Guy with Nexera and Mammoth are. We see that in our other EDAs. So correct. It is not about new dollars as a penalty. It's for money we've contributed.
I think it's.
So the verbiage, yeah, the verbiage, I understand.
Yeah,
The verbiage though is just confusing because it reads as if it was related to taxes, but you're saying it's the payments you're making to the county that would be recouped.
It's a capital P payment for that payment we've made of the EDA payment.
Right, not any property tax.
Wait till you hear what happens here, Julie.
Difference.
So this language is common, and we've seen it throughout the state. So I think that's the question. Maybe an outside counsel or your counsel can continue to review. We still expect up to 250 construction jobs will be supported. Once the project is completed, we'll expect there to be 2 full-time operations and maintenance jobs. Our engineers are still working on analyzing the impact of the new setback requirements to update our designs. While the new setbacks may negatively impact the overall profitability of the project, we do not expect the setbacks to impact our ability to meet our financial commitments to the county under the EDA. We look forward to a more detailed project-specific discussion at those BZA hearings when we submit our application.
This is when we were supposed to have more detail.
Along with those setbacks, the project landowners
we're supposed to have more detail.
Who are your
Not later,
constituents will also
now.
incur lost revenues. Most of these leases are set up that they're getting paid out by in-fence, and if we have more setbacks, there's more spare land there. We do not believe that there's any legitimate material changes that would provide the council with a proper legal basis to rescind our tax abatement.
It doesn't matter what you think. They have the power to do that.
And we respectfully ask that the council allow the abatement to remain in effect. Happy to give any more project-specific updates, but like I mentioned, I do know that we'll go into a lot more detail on the project specifics when we submit our application.
No. That's what this meeting was for.
Is there a time frame for that? But to Bill's previous question,
I think to his point, there's some good discussion that we need to have with how some of these things are going to be enforced, but the expectation will be this year.
You had mentioned the $200,000 economic development payment. How many payments would that be? I may have missed that part.
Yeah, it's all listed out in the EDA, but it's 10 $200,000 payments totaling $2 million.
Over, and how often are they paid?
Once a year.
So once a year, 200,000 once a year. And is that money paid to the commissioner, or is that money paid to the county general?
I think that's a question that Baker Tilly in their presentation can go over, how that money can be allocated.
it's paid and you can get it.
So it goes to the commissioners?
Yes.
Okay, so it goes to the commissioners.
200,000 or $2
But
million.
he couldn't answer it.
It's illustrated in the EDA that that's not a fixed number. If the assessed value of land goes above $8,000 an acre, there's a reduction in that amount. And the illustrative table shows like a total payment of $1.6 million as opposed to $2 million.
I think that's a great question that Baker Tilly could maybe shed more light on. I know
Question number 2 he couldn't answer.
Them coming to give a presentation on this, and to have those numbers that they put together. So we recommend and we're open to working with the county if they'd like Baker Tilly to come in and present again, or anyone that you choose to review this.
The state determines the land base rate on these types of projects. The local assessor does not determine that.
I believe that's the 3 regions that have been set up by the state for that assessed value. Again, really, these are Baker Tilly tax questions. I think they're more the experts in this.
Question 3.
But
He really couldn't answer.
I'll just make the point that currently for 2023, the
land base rate.
And you'll notice this isn't Ryan.
$14,201.
Mike Jones, this isn't Ryan.
Would reduce that annual payment from, instead of being 200,000, it would be closer to 100,000.
I don't have it in front of me, but my understanding is we're making
Question 4, he couldn't
$200,000
answer.
payments every year.
Well, okay. 1E on page 3 of the EDA explains that that's not a fixed number, that is variable based on the land rate. That leads to a second question. I talked to Hawthorne. They requested were granted tax abatement on personal property only. You were granted tax abatement on land, on real estate and personal property. Is that correct?
Do you have? Yeah,
According to the abatement application, it's for both.
Yeah. So I'm happy to have us review this with our legal counsel, this specific legal question. I'm more of the developer working on.
Question
developing the
5 he
project,
couldn't
so
answer.
happy to get back a specific answer on that.
Well, I was just trying to understand what the difference between the two projects.
So far, he's
was,
not really
why
answered anything.
Yours would be ground on land, particularly since it's leased ground. It's that you don't own the ground.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have that answer right now, but happy to follow up.
Question 6, he can't not answer.
You have an EDA in place that was signed more than almost 2.5 years ago. Would you, as a developer, be open to opening up that EDA for further discussion, given the passage of time and everything else that's happened in the meantime?
I think that's something that we can take back and consider.
That's half of an answer.
One thing that it shows up in other economic development agreements are so-called good neighbor provisions. And that does not appear in the current EDA. Is that something you would look at?
I am not familiar with any of our EDA agreements in the state, so I can't speak to what those look like.
8.
You said you would be filing for the special use permit hopefully this year. Based on your knowledge of design, do you anticipate requesting any variances from the current standards in the ordinance?
I can't say at this time.
9.
Is there any, Hawthorne made a point, which appreciated, they are a private developer. They are not a public utility. You consider yourself in any way, shape, or form a public utility?
We do in the sense that we are regulated as a public utility, but to be clear, we are a privately held company.
Right. Yeah. Do you foresee any circumstance where you would ask the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission to take over jurisdiction of this project and, in essence, supersede local land use regulation and have them regulate the design of the project?
Yeah, as that being a legal question again, I can have our attorney look at that and follow up.
Is interested in hearing you, the attorney.
My question is, this is a special hearing for us to consider rescinding the abatement. I'm a little caught off guard that you don't have these answers that we're asking you. Or you don't have somebody who can give us the answers. Like, we could vote here however long it takes, and half the questions we've asked, you don't have the answer to.
My understanding was this was a hearing for us to come to provide an update on the project. I'm happy to provide the answers.
And answer questions.
We've been always happy to provide answers that we can. I think with this being a public hearing, I don't want to say anything incorrect, so happy to follow up.
I don't want to say anything at all?
Follow up after.
If I remember, I can't remember. You were the original lead developer on the project, were you?
Tom Scoder, 2.5 years ago, was the original developer, yeah.
Okay, that's what, I just wanted to clarify that, because I thought you looked different, so I just wanted to make sure it wasn't the same guy who was here before who was leading the project. A little taller.
Do you have any additional questions?
Are you willing to release any environmental studies that have been done?
I think to his same point, I think we submit them to the state, to the INDR, and I don't see now for any reason that we wouldn't be able to release those. I know we're doing a lot of on-site wetland delineations, many environmental studies. So as of now, I don't see why we couldn't release those. They're state documents.
Yeah, one last thing from me. Since we've clarified that that clause that we originally interpreted would put the county on the hook for approximately $5 million in future tax credits, that's not the case, only versus how much money has been paid into the project so far, as your economic development payments back to the county, which I believe you stated 200,000 is your target. Councilmember Hughes said that number could change. Has anything been paid to the county up to this point?
I know we've reimbursed the county for that Baker Tilly study that I mentioned, but other
Yes,
than
Karen,
that, I'm
it
not
is.
aware of any payments to the county.
Do you know when it's scheduled to be made?
That first EDA payment as defined would be in the first year after operations. So that $200,000 payment would be once the project's in service.
So once it
Quit
opens
licking
for
your
business and
hand.
starts generating electricity and it's a completed project, I believe.
So, for example, in Clinton County, that's our Hardy Hills project. We're completing construction, and because of that, we're going to make our first payment to the county.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
I think there was a question, I guess more of a question amongst council earlier, and I want to make sure we clarify this. And from these projects, since we're at our max cap, it doesn't actually equal new revenue necessarily, but it's can reduce the tax rate for the entire county. Is that correct, Bill?
Well, it reduced all the relevant tax rates, but yes, for the county general, it would cover the entire county.
She asked a question, and it wasn't even to the guy. It was to Bill Hughes. Greg Brady.
Be reduced.
I think they said it was like a $2 savings per person, if I remember right. Somewhere around there.
Can I ask a few of the same questions relative to, again, it's a 10-year abatement. You're at a minimum, Meadow Forge as a public utility is for sure.
Listen to this.
Depreciation is hitting that 30% cap in the first 3 years. But relative to just what happens and
Yeah.
You guys walk away from a decommissioning standpoint. Again, I'll just go back to the statement I made earlier, which, is again, if you, I think, in one of the letters.
Yeah,
you received,
I don't
you
like
guys said
this.
that you weren't receiving federal subsidies or incentives of any sort, relative to this. So, you're coming to the locals to basically compete for this, which, I know it's been a challenge, I'm sure. But, again, unlike a building or a piece of equipment that's been invested, we can't resell that equipment, we can't resell that building, we can't resell these solar panels. Nothing really prevents you from walking away, and if that's the case, there is decommissioning language in your EDA at a minimum to try to. Is there
important.
any prior examples of that you guys having done in other counties or other states and other environmental impact information? Anything else you can share with that?
Are you talking about an early decommissioning?
Yeah.
Anytime that we
Yeah.
haven't had to do any early decommissioning. I think if you think about these projects, right, the investment cost is up front and then they earn money over the life selling the electricity. So I think the decommissioning language in this EDA, it's very common throughout the state with the other agreements we have with decommissioning bonds and things like that. And the salvage value. I would say that there is, to that point also, a recycling market when most of this is just
Jesus.
glass and steel. So there still is value.
That's a lie.
We've not had to do it.
Yeah.
We have not had to early decommission.
Question about the scope, how many acres roughly would be involved in your project?
Yeah, so it's still going to be determined. Like I said, the engineers are redoing the design with these 500.
He doesn't
foot
know.
setbacks
He
and
can't
some of
answer
those other
that.
Considerations they consider.
That's the
But for a
11th question
project
he
this
couldn't
size,
answer.
I think we stated before about 1,000 to 1,100 acres would be in the fence. Obviously, it's going to be spread out farther now with the 500-foot setback being like maybe individual parcels can't be as fully utilized. That's the impact.
Sorry, one last question on the decommission. Sorry.
And follow up with just a minute. Is your project scalable? If the Board of Zoning Appeals said that's too large, it needs to be closer to 700 acres to author and project. Is that within the scope of your contemplation?
Yeah, I'd have to talk with our engineers about that.
He
one.
doesn't know. He'd have
You're
to talk to the
saying if
engineers.
we
That's
were told to
12.
Scaled down by the BZA or the zoning board?
Yes.
it might impact our ability to meet the 163 megawatts that are in our EDA, our Economic Development Agreement. But I would have to speak with the engineers and see, so.
13.
Sorry, just one, I meant to follow up on the decommissioning. Do you know, like, if there was a decommissioning, and this just comes back to when can that land be recaptured from a,
So that we can come down to that number.
we'll stipulate at one point, I did work for an electric vehicle company, so I don't say these things, so they're not haphazard in my questioning, so don't take them as such. But I appreciate you providing the input.
I would add, you were asking that question about like, why would we come to the county? And I think why are some of our county partners interested in this? I mean, our county partners are looking at ways to get new dollars through these economic development payments with their capped at these property taxes. So that's something that's being considered. And then to his point, it's about being competitive to get these projects built.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with the interpretation that Council Wheeler said.
Okay.
Intend to vote on this today. If not,
Now,
Please state your name and we'll go from there.
here's public concern.
good morning, Council. Stephen Brand, 8770 South County Road, 200 West, Muncie. I live in Monroe Township out by Cowan. First question is, do you guys intend to vote on this today? If not, I'm going to hold my comments until the meeting where you do vote. Or are you going to wait to gather more information and get the answers to the questions that you asked that were unanswered today?
I personally would like more information, but
If the motion's made and seconded, there'll be a vote.
Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and share my, my comments. So I've been involved in small and large businesses here in Delaware County for the last 35 years, and I've requested and been granted tax abatements. I've launched hundreds of pieces of business, and not every time do I come and ask for a tax abatement. I had to come before this county council multiple times to request and report out on the status of my abatements in terms of real estate investment, capital investment, infrastructure, IT, jobs, payroll, all those things. And I'm glad to say that we always overperformed and exceeded the expectations on our abatements. And I believe President Piper was president for all of those. I was always challenged when I requested an abatement that, is this required to get the project across the goal line? Have you already signed a contract with your customer? And I learned very early on that you don't come and ask for an abatement for a project that you're already going to do or that's already been secured with your customer. And as evidenced by the testimony that you heard this morning, they had already worked, secured land contracts, and then communicated with the county and came and asked for the abatement. So I'm not necessarily against or for solar, right? That's not the purpose. You ask for abatement. And I think I've been granted 5 or 6 abatements in my time running small and large businesses. And the purpose is to get the project across the goal line, not necessarily to sweeten the icing already on the cake. So if you look at the timeline of events, I believe a business and a responsible business, which I believe both of these are, they've already done their risk assessment. They know, hey, without this ordinance, I'm still going to do this project or I'm not going to do the project. Without this abatement, I'm still going to do the project or I'm not going to do the project. And they secured land contracts. They've spent millions of dollars, and maybe the solar ordinance doesn't go in their favor, and maybe the abatement doesn't go in their favor. So I just ask that you consider my comments and my personal experience with abatements in this county. While it may be different in other counties or in other states, that's not the way it's been done here, at least in my experience. Thank you for listening to me today.
thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak on the abatement? All right.
Here we go. That was a great that was a great comment by candidate Stephen Brand. That was great. He will be a great leader for Delaware County. We need someone with his mind in the commissioner's seat. He just blew King out of the water there 1,000%. And you notice he didn't talk about how wonderful he was. You know, he didn't campaign. He talked to the council.
That you can get however many land leases in place, that's enough to put X amount of megawatts of power in that place. That makes it a viable project. Your county budget is practically nothing. So it's not a fiscal question. In my mind, this really is a question of land use. When this goes before the Board of Zoning Appeals, and I commend the commissioners, they had the foresight to make these special uses as opposed to permitted uses, the way the ordinance was originally written. Board of Zoning Appeals has broad authority for this type of request to grant or not grant a special use. And in doing so, they can impose reasonable conditions as a part of the approval. I think my problem from a land use point of view, and I did a lot of land use law when I was practicing, is the scope of the Meadow Forge project. I think it's excessive. And I would like to see that scaled to a more reasonable level. This question about litigation, and we should be very clear about that. The concern is, does the council have the authority to rescind a tax abatement once it has been approved? As our council, and I worked on this with him, pointed out, in general, if a council has the authority to approve something,
do it, they have the authority to undo it.
Repeal it at a later date.
No question.
Based on the Indiana Home Rule statute. Council for Meadow Forge in particular, but I think council for both projects were in agreement that no, the tax abatement is a different kind of an animal once granted.
Bullshit.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up, Councilmember Hughes, because the EDA was one of the things that kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. I don't like the idea of us making a vote and then an EDA being crafted after the fact that we're somehow legally bound to. I've never understood that. Honestly, I don't believe it's accurate. There's a lot more attorneys in the room, and I'm not one of them, but I just don't believe it. We'd be held responsible for an EDA after we've already voted on it. But I agree with you on that, that if something is put in place, that we should have some sort of input with that. I also appreciate the fact that you noted that we have two companies here, one stuck around for the decision and the other one left. So thank you, Representative Hawthorne, for sticking around.
Wow! Whoa! Wait a minute. Webb, are you still here? Are you saying right here, did you just say that Invenergy left before your decision was made? That is insane.
And this has been an ongoing thing. We've got so much information, and then we found out that, that certain information we thought was true wasn't true. For example,
wow.
We interpreted that economic development agreement to believe that we were somehow be on the hook for $5 million, and I think that kind of immediately shut down any real efforts. I know a lot of folks probably that give them pause to really look at rescinding this. And
sounds
so
like they knew the outcome before. Why stick around if you know the outcome?
$5 million. Clarify what he said was any money they pay out, they've not paid out any yet, we would be on the hook for future tax credit for however much they paid out. So if they paid out $200,000, we'd owe them $200,000 in tax credit. But because they've not paid out anything, we wouldn't owe them anything. So much has changed in this project with the moratorium. I believe this was 2021 when we first did this. And,
Ryan.
Moratorium was put in place, and there's been quite a few changes to the solar ordinance. 500-foot setback is the one that kind of gets brought up the most. Councilmember Hughes had mentioned something earlier about a good neighbor clause that a lot of companies have in their agreements, and that's lacking in this particular one. So that would be something we'd like to see in there. I mentioned something earlier today, and I said that for a reason, that most of the people who's gotten up to that podium and have spoken have been in opposition to the Invenergy solar project. Again, I'm only speaking for myself. No one's called me about Hawthorne. There's not an economic development agreement for Hawthorne. Kind of got lumped into this because we did them on the same day. So when I made this motion back in November to consider rescinding tax abatements, kind of pulled into that, you know, but really it was just, you know, by association, to be honest with you, from my perspective.
Yeah, I agree.
And we went through this proper steps. We've had some hearings, and here we are now. We're all the way in February. It's went on forever. And Mr. Nickham, I appreciate your comments about expecting a vote, and I'm glad that Councilmember Cantz agree with that, because I agree with that as well. I believe that it's time to, you know, either make a decision or you know, and live with it, not kick the can down the road.
Oh, wait, hold on. I didn't know I missed Nickham talk, where I want to hear what he says. I'm going to go back, and I'll go back to Ryan. I didn't know that Tim talked. I want to hear what Tim says.
My name's Tim Nickham. I live in Harrison Township. I would just say that if the motion is made today to rescind these tax abatement, I would ask that a second also be given and a vote taken so that the public knows exactly where you all stand on this. We would appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Short, sweet, and to the point. And I agree with him 1000%.
We're done with council.
You know, it is what it is. And being said that there's no case law, this has never been done before. As far as I understand, no community has ever rescinded an economic development agreement, or I'm sorry, never rescinded a tax abatement that had been previously granted. And there's no case law on it, and it's all up in the air, and they may sue us, they may not sue us. You know, I've shared some frustrations in the past about us. I feel like sometimes we may fold our hand out of a threat of litigation, and I don't really like doing things that way. I feel like if you feel like you have the winning hand and you're in the right, then, you know, you stand your ground. Yes, it's scary that there's no precedent set, and it's scary that they probably got lawyers on retainer from here to wherever. But you know, it is what it is. And if we think we're in the right, and we think that we have the right to rescind an abatement that we previously granted, then I think we should stand on that. And I came in prepared today. Obviously, I wanted to hear what everyone had to say, but I've been listening to the citizens of the community for a long time, and I know what's expected and what they're asking for. Matt had mentioned a minute ago about doing these separate, and I think that's an appropriate thing to do.
Yes.
So based off of what I had recently said about my differences between the two companies, I'm going to make a motion to rescind the abatement for the Invenergy tax abatement. And I'm hoping that someone seconds it, because I feel like the community is owed a vote. That's my motion.
One second for purpose of discussion.
All right, we have a motion by Ryan and a second by Bill to rescind.
Whoa! You hear how disappointed Jessica is? Oh, she's not happy with Bill.
For tax abatement.
Now we're done with council comments.
Well,
You can discuss now.
Yeah, we just discussed now. It's part of discussion at this point.
Sort of cut the rest of us off there by doing that, Ryan. I appreciate the motion. I'd like to clarify just a couple things. Matt, you said something about.
No, it didn't cut. No, it didn't cut anybody off. You can discuss it right now.
The leases are 10 times the amount of what a farmer could get for rent. I want to disagree with that somewhat. I've seen a couple of the leases. I'm going to say it's closer to maybe 4 or 5 times the amount that
he's talked more in this meeting than he's ever talked since he's been on the council.
It adds up when you're talking to farmers' pockets. And I'd also like to clarify, the land's not taken, because the land was offered up to lease by the landowners, whether that was farmers or absentee landowners. So none of the ground has been taken as of yet. I don't know if anything will have to be eminent domain for utility rights or not, but nothing has been taken. I mean, I agree with you, Ryan. Previous council, hate to throw them under the bus, but made a poor decision in my mind. And with all the information that we've heard now, I probably would not have been in favor of tax abatement when it was presented to the council at that time. But you all made that decision and we're dealing with it now.
Okay, so we just heard what he said. With everything he's heard, he would not have went along with the tax abatement. So he's going to vote against it. That's good to know.
I'm just going to tell you how I'm going to vote now. I'm not in favor of rescinding it for one big reason. I don't want this county to rescind abatements to companies and then every other company that wants to come to Delaware County see that we've done this and then decide we're going to go look somewhere else. Because we've already heard in previous meetings, our poverty rate significantly high. We don't need to be turning away.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, you will be a massive disappointment if you walk into a polling booth and if you vote for this man, you will be a disappointment.
Can you remind us of his name so we know who not to vote
I
for?
don't know what his name is. I don't know. Oh, it's Eugene Whitehead.
Oh, Whitehead. Okay.
Yeah, it's Eugene Whitehead. He literally just said if I was on the original council that did this, I wouldn't have voted for it. But I'm not going to rescind it. To hell with that. This guy's a waste. They're saying wait till Dan speaks.
I was born and raised on a farm. And for that reason, I would just like to say, I think farm ground should remain farm ground. I am also want to make sure that people understand that I am not opposed to solar. I think solar is needed. I think it's a great resource for energy. However, I think that there is a place for solar. And again, I don't know that farm ground, in my opinion, and I know that the state has said different, but for me, I just don't think that's a good use for solar. We have all kinds of ground that is contaminated. We have, I'm sure in Arizona and in Texas, vast majority of ground that is sand. Sunshine is probably 364 days out of the year. And to me, that would be a great place for solar. You know, down the road, it bothers me a little bit, I guess, that for some reason I keep thinking solar will bite just, you know, the old saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And with that in mind, again, so many things going through my mind right now, but one thing is farm ground to me is a viable commodity that needs to be used to raise crops. And again, there are places for solar. I think solar is great. I just think it needs to be put in an area where land usage for crops is not affected. I would prefer not to see this go from 700 acres, whatever Metal Forge has, then, you know, it goes to 10,000 acres. Then first thing you know, 15 years down the road, here we got 30 or 40,000 acres of solar. And I'm going to tell you, my great-great-grandchildren can't eat electricity.
Okay.
Maybe
I like what he's saying there. I like what he's saying there.
Yeah. Planning and competition is a good thing. And who knows?
Oh.
To say I'm in favor of it, I'm not in favor of it, but the flip side of that, as Councilman White has already spoken, I think sends a terrible message to those people who, at this particular point in time, could be looking for some tax abatements, and if granted, would always have in the back of their mind, What is the next council going to do? Are they going to?
No, it's not the same
move
thing. This
forward
is
with
wildly
abatement,
different.
Or are they going to possibly rescind it?
This was something that was an
Both companies have
unprecedented
spent,
situation.
according to them, millions of dollars, with the understanding this tax abatement would be granted. And, for those reasons, for myself, Mr. Whitehead has already expressed his opinion. I would move forward with the, abatement.
He spent all that time talking against it, and now he also is moving forward with it.
You both brought up some really important points about not being opposed to solar, and I think that's really important to mention. I don't think anyone's opposed to solar. I'm not opposed to solar. I think to have as many options available, to contribute to the consumption is a wonderful thing to do. Yeah, planning and competition is a good thing, and who knows, the cream rises to the top. Maybe it will one day prove to be the best route to go. I don't know. People tend to move away from fossil fuels, but my position is more about, with whether it was misinterpreted, the information was there all along, it was missed, or however you want to say it. My understanding is different from what it was that day when the council voted in favor of it. I tend to believe that if you get information that changes your mind, and you have the authority to be able to change your mind, then you should be entitled to do that. Had I known half of the things we know now, I would have voted differently that day. I'll be the first to separate and tell you, I was on that council that voted to approve it unanimously, and I've been very open about it. I think that was, for me, that was a mistake on my part. Can't speak for anyone else. They may stand behind their vote, but for me, I would have definitely voted different. Councilmember Whitehead mentioned about that there's no land being taken, and he's correct. And, this is a difficult conversation because I'm in favor of property rights, right? If you live in the county, you should be able to do what you want to do with your property. Now, we've had people sit up here and say, well, that's not necessarily true. We have a CAFO, and they don't let us do what we want with our CAFO. We have restrictions on that. We live out in the middle of nowhere, so there are limits, there are restrictions. But I want to make it clear and understood, tax abatement isn't going to be the be-all, end-all of a property or of a project. I think these multi-million-dollar, these tax abatements are really drops in the bucket compared to their profit margins of what they make from. And so I don't think it would affect anyone's right as a property owner to still utilize their property if they want to lease it to a solar company. No one would infringe on that. It would just say that we're not going to give up free tax dollars, and the 89th ranked poverty ranked county in the state out of 92 counties, we're not just going to give away free tax dollars for a company or a project that's already going to be very profitable. That's all that was saying. Now, I get it. It takes courage to be first. It takes courage to say, to step off the ledge into the unknown, and nobody's ever rescinded it, and we don't want to be the county of no, and I totally get all that.
God.
When you get information that makes you think differently, I feel like you have to act on it, and I can respect anyone's position who says, I don't want to go against something that's been previously done. I don't want to send a message, but you got to stand on your principle. If the information that we know would cause you, if you were sitting, you said it yourself, if you were sitting here that day, you would have voted against it. Well, if that's your opinion on it, I caution people to be bound by a loyalty of not wanting to be the first in the state to ever do it, and to not want to send a message to any potential future developers. You got to go with what your entities are telling you, whether you would support it or not. Obviously, you can vote however you want, but for me, I'm going to vote on how I feel I would have voted knowing the information, and now I know the information, and I would not vote to support it. So that's how I would do it, and I appreciate everybody having the comments.
I had Mr. Brand's thoughts kind of in the back of my mind that these people already kind of had leases signed, so what do they need our money for? And then, apologize, can't remember your name. Ben, so thank you. Anyway, Ben stood up and said, we have to have all this done before we can decide if it's valuable or not. It's like, so you're gonna have the property lease, so you know how many acres you got, and figure out a way to connect it to the grid
before, you can come and say, yep, we can do this, or, well, we have to write off all this money we just did. So that was, that kind of changed an opinion of mine.
What?
I'm in agreement with Mr. Mogul here that, farm ground should stay farm ground. But I agree with him also that I don't want to be telling you no. And I don't like that. That just puts me in a bad spot.
I think if you, go ahead. Go ahead, I'll go last.
To Dan's point, I don't disagree that what Ben stated is accurate. However, it's not unusual. Everyone's going to do that due diligence ahead of time before they decide they're going to come or not. Tax abatements are also used for existing businesses to invest and stay and get some breaks to invest internally. Again, I think that's a big focus area that we need to bear in mind. And so I believe Ben is speaking his truth and he's true to that, but I also don't necessarily believe that would have changed anything necessarily with that. And there's also I don't know whose point was about local solar versus industrial solar. Industrial solar is the controversial version that this isn't unique to Delaware County. This controversy is happening in other counties in Indiana and probably across the country as well, with industrial solar impacts versus local solar. I think in hindsight, the county commissioner should have taken this on as a local project instead of what has come to be. You know, the city and other folks are looking at doing that in other areas, and we did not, probably because we're short-sighted.
Yes.
So that's part of the reason why I think that we're here today. So, but I also agree we don't necessarily, from a material change standpoint, is probably not in our best interest. But I agree with Ryan to some degree that in the case of Meadow Forge particularly, they're what's happening with them is different than what's happening with Hawthorne at this point.
Yes.
Hawthorne not having an EDA could be looked at as negative, which I initially thought. In some ways it may be a benefit because it actually would give potentially us some opportunity to work with them and figure out a better solution for everybody going forward. So I would be opposed to rescinding anything for them. However, that is not the case necessarily for
So what I wanted to share too.
Here goes Jessica.
Ryan and I were the two sitting up on this bench.
Here it goes, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the big one.
Came before us. The information we were provided, everything sounded great. We had zero opposition. I mean, Ryan can remember.
Yes, ma'am.
No one came, so we made decisions based on the information we had at that time and zero opposition. Would things be different now? Possibly. I know we had some good conversation with the commissioners in our executive session pertaining to updates to the tax abatement form. I believe, Ryan, Matt, you may have.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. They didn't have good. It started out with, I don't want to be here today. I don't want any of my comments on social media. I don't want what happens. I don't like being blamed for everything. I don't appreciate you guys attacking us in meetings. They didn't have a good discussion. James King bullied them around, and Jessica said, yes, sir, I'll do whatever you want.
Suggestions that they were open to adding to the form. I think they're going to have a lot more eyes on our tax abatement process. I'm sure Mr. Hughes will definitely be looking into those a lot deeper than prior tax abatement committees, which is a great thing. Like, that's a positive, that's a win for all of us. One thing we haven't covered in all the time that we've been here, knowing now about that section 11 with the EDA, that calms some nerves for people, but I do want to explain what was told to us is because we had signed those tax abatements. That was just mainly an agreement. The commissioners were just saying, yeah, they signed off on this, so it's going to happen, because there is no history of anyone ever rescinding an abatement. So that's where that came from. And to Jim's points, I mean, there are a lot of brownfields that would be a good use for solar. But before us today are the abatements that we put in place based on the information we had at the time with no opposition. So, any council have any further comments before we go on?
Let's read that motion again.
The motion was motion by Ryan and second by Bill to rescind the Meadow Forge tax.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
And could I also add to that, that my desire is for it to be received and them to resubmit it with all of the new information to be reconsidered. I believe that's what we'd spoken about previously, not necessarily, it would be a deal breaker. Just so much has changed. I would like to see a different request with all the new information. Now that obviously we can't put our hand on that. They got to make that decision if they want to reapply or not. But that was my desire with consider the motion to ask them to reapply with new information.
So the motion has been amended. Do we have a second on the amended? So now are we voting on the amendment?
Please read your,
So we'll vote on the amendment.
I think that could be taken as a friendly amendment.
Okay.
He just clarified his original motion.
Okay, that's fair then. All right, so motion stands still, original motion, Ryan and Bill, to rescind Meadow Forge.
For the record, that was resolution 2021-037.
All right, roll call, please.
Ms. Flanagan.
So they have the option to resubmit or not turn it down outright.
But it doesn't stop.
But it doesn't stop the litigation. No, let's keep it as it is.
Ah,
That's a yes.
That's a no to rescind.
No to rescind.
Okay. Mr. Hughes.
No.
Mr. Kansas.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
No.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt.
No.
Ms. Piper.
No.
Tim, I'm sorry.
Ryan, are you good with Hawthorne's abatement?
I never had no personal objection to all.
Tim, I'm absolutely sorry. Listen to me. I did not know this.
Yeah,
I didn't know this.
You know,
I didn't attend this meeting today,
been no.
and I wasn't 100% how it fell. And this pisses me off. And I'm telling you, Jessica Piper and Eugene Whitehead need to be cut off right at their legs for this. I apologize, but this needs to be the reason they are neither one reelected.
What we've learned from this, I believe.
This has to be what knocks them out of being reelected, along with all of the other bullshit maneuvers they've made, the lack of having a backbone, being able to do what's right for the. This is absolutely disgusting. I have never before in my life had so much shit go wrong in government.
They basically just said, if you're a company and you want a tax abatement, you can come in here and tell us every lie you want to. And we'll give it to you.
And we'll give it to you.
We'll give it to you.
Yeah.
You can bend us over and ram it right up there and it'll be fine. We'll beg for more, in fact.
Absolutely.
Well, the tax abatement committee will take that on.
Absolutely.
With input from all the council members.
Great. All right. Do we have any comments from council before we wrap up?
All right, that's it. That's it with that. We can get through the rest of this in 10 minutes and we'll be out of here. I know this has been a long one, but we're gonna get through it. It's gonna go real quickly. All right, that's Delaware.
Is that a Bilbrey unstandard time?
No, that's a real live 10 minutes.
Okay.
This is a real live 10 minutes.
Okay.
What did you call my last name? What did you say?
I got stuck on it. So
yeah, that was disaster. Holy shit.
I get called Thornberry, so screw you.
Yeah, right. All right. I am so that is I've got a lot to cover with that. I've got a lot to cover with that. We'll have to talk about that more tomorrow, but that's absolutely gross. I hate hearing that. I hate that that happened, and I'm just absolutely sickened by that. Okay, going on into more nonsense government, bullshit government. I do want to let you guys know also going on at the same time today was the state of Indiana election commission. They heard challenges for right at about 6.5 hours. Okay, right at about 6.5 hours. Just in quick time, I'll let you know that basically what they did was they heard challenges for federal office being the president of the United States and United States Senate and Congress, and they heard challenges for state level. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys know basically what happened. Oh yeah, that is exactly right. That's exactly right. Webb. Challenge for Donald Trump. The gentleman stood up and challenged Trump basically for the insurrection, blah, blah, blah. They did not uphold the challenge. Donald Trump will appear on the ballot in Indiana. All right, so that's going to happen. Next up, Gabe Whiteley from way down in Evansville. He's a whole mess in and of himself. He challenged Biden and he didn't show up. So Biden is going to be on the ballot in Indiana. So we will have our Trump Biden rematch. Well, they're not even on the ballot together. They will both be on the ballot in May, and then we'll see what happens going forward for November. Past that, they then heard challenges. I want to let you guys know they heard challenges all day long. It was absolutely insane. I'm going to show you guys here just briefly what happened here, just to give you guys kind of an understanding of what went on. The election commission. Let me click on this. Let me pull up the agenda here. The agenda that the election commission heard is here. Okay. I don't know who the lady was interrupting everybody. I got to find out who's who. I'm going to send that down to someone I know down there tomorrow and find out who is on the board. I did run down who everybody was, but I don't know who's who. So here is what the challenges look like. Okay. Basically, they had a challenge that was dismissed. They then had Kester versus Trump, Whitley versus Biden, and then they had Whitman challenged Dixon Tatum, who was a Democrat from Madison County trying to run for governor. She was challenged and she was taken off the ballot. So the governor race is now on the Democrat side done. There's only one Democrat running in May, and that is Jennifer McCormick, and she now moves on till November. Okay. Then it went into Martin versus Nicholson, Crooks versus Moore, Bond versus Schrader, Urick versus Scheidel, Willis versus Brown, Willis versus King, Willis versus Finnegan, something, Dixon Tatum versus McCormick. Okay. All the way down. Basically, nothing happened that made much sense. The state is basically like every other election board. They are capable of making error after error after error. Okay. They talked about following the law, and then they did weird shit. They basically stayed within the law, but it was very long and drawn out, and it was a whole lot of nonsense. I'm just letting you guys know that in the whole grand scheme of things, they're no better than any election, county election division at all. It's wild what these people do. Let me show you what happened here. Next up, they have John Rust, the big fight. John Rust, was he going to be able to be on the ballot? He didn't have two primary votes for the Republican Party. The Indiana Supreme Court gave a stay on the deal, which means the law is in place. People have been getting screwed by it all week. He got screwed by it today. The election board officially voted today to not allow him to the ballot. His attorney, by the way that his attorney was talking today, they will now be taking this up to the Supreme Court of the United States. Will the court take the case? Will it be heard by Election Day? I've got no clue, but we will be following this. I've been studying a lot more about Mr. Rust, and I don't like him as a candidate. He is not somebody that I would probably endorse. He is not somebody that I definitely wouldn't support him. All right, so I probably wouldn't endorse him. However, I do like his fight in what he's watching, and this is why I'm good. I cannot like him as a candidate. I don't care about him as a person. He's probably a great person. I don't like him as a candidate, and I would not support or vote for him as a candidate. However, I like what his fight is, and I think that his fight has merit, and I back him on his fight. So we will be watching that. But officially, he did get removed from the ballot today, and he will not be on the ballot unless the Supreme Court does something and overrules that. So that fight went on for a while, and basically they went back and forth and back and forth. If you guys want to watch something that's very interesting and you get to hear a lot of ins and outs and hear issues with the election record keeping, I'm telling you guys, this is scary as shit. I'm going to give you guys here's a really brief tip. If you are someone that wants to hear, it's very important. If you are someone that wants to hear about what goes on in government and politics, and you feel that you might run in the future, I have a suggestion for you. After every primary election, you should contact your county clerk and you should request your vote history. So when you go in and you vote on May 7th, a week later, you should call the clerk's office and say, I would like you to email me my vote history. And then when you vote in November, you should contact them a week later and say, I would like my vote history. You have them send it to you, you pick it up, you print it off, and you need to save it in a file somewhere, because there's a lot of people that tried to run that got kicked off, who I swear that I voted twice, but because they didn't have the records, they couldn't prove it. Here's another tip. If you are ever faced with a challenge and you go in under oath and you give a sworn statement and you have it notarized, they will more than likely take that affidavit. That's very, very, very important. Okay. So there's that. So if you want to watch the rest of that, you can watch that 6.5 hour long thing on my meeting. Hey, Kate, can you pop up here for a second? Stay right there for 1 second.
Oh, goody. Y'all get to watch me chain smoke. It's been a shit weekend, so deal with it. I'm trying to quit. It ain't happening. He lied. We are in full on Bilbrey on standard time. Said it correctly that time. His 10 minutes is more like 30 to the rest of us human beings. But apparently he has to pee. So y'all are stuck with me. It's always fun. So it is crap, though. This 2 primary rules being used all over the state. I don't believe that the Supreme Court here in Indiana has yet ruled on this specific case. So we need to keep following that, because they're throwing people off ballots left and right. Is everybody having a good day? Oh, Lord. David, you're a brave man. That's a lot of hours of watching. And overlapping meetings, in fact. So switching back and forth between two, trying to keep track of what's going on must have been tons of fun. Bilbrey better hurry up. Oh, Kristopher. He had to take a Sproles before we get into Sproles watch, I guess. Are you the boss at work where you're able to listen, David, and not get yelled at by an actual boss?
He's a truck driver.
Oh, well then, yeah, he's the boss.
He's the boss.
He's the boss. All
yeah,
right.
Sorry, I had to pee. I couldn't get through it. Okay.
Okay. I figured you were taking a pee or Sproles before we got to Sproles watch.
Yep. Well, that's it. Okay. So real quick. Everybody. Thank you, Kate. If you want to watch this, you can find this on the channel. It's 6.5 hours long. And it's called Live on Location, State of Indiana Election Commission Meeting, Candidate Challenges 2024. Okay. From there, we've got bad news. Bad news, bad news. Okay. Yeah, right here. Okay, bad news. State Senate Corrections and Criminal Law Committee, House Bill 1338. Ladies and gentlemen, today, get rid of some of this. It's here. Today at 11:30 this morning, the Indiana State Senate Committee for Corrections and Criminal Law met. There are 12 members on that committee, and out of the 12 members, okay, there were only 7. Excuse me, there were only, wait a minute. Yeah, there were only 7 that attended. So there were 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. There were 4 people that were not in attendance. And House Bill 1338 passed with 5 yays and 2 nays. Right there it is, folks. 5 yays and 2 nays. The vote went down like this. Tomorrow, if you give me just 1 second here, I will show you this. Why? See if I can get this to pull up here. Give me a second. All right, one more time here. Senate standing. This video cannot be played. Well, go figure. So they won't allow us to watch this video. So we cannot watch it. However, I will let you know that here are your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, there it says there's 9 members. So if there's only 9 members, then there were only 2 people that didn't vote. I don't know who actually voted on this yet or not, but we will get those numbers and we will let you know. The bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, House Bill 13, what's the number? 1338. Yeah, 1338 moves on. There's one more vote, and it will become law in the state of Indiana. It'll become state code, and they will have one more way to screw us. All right. That's no good. All right. Moving on from there, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. This is very important for you guys to know. There will be a Delaware County Part 2 election board meeting tomorrow at 1 p.m. That will be Wednesday, February 28th. It's on the screen. Wednesday, February 28th, 2024 at 1 p.m. We will be live streaming it right here. Please, please, please remember when you come in. And if anyone can tell people when they come in and they say, because I can't comment and run the screen the way that I'm doing. So if you guys can please tell people when they come in and someone says, the sound's all janky, let them know that the sound will repair when the meeting starts, just to calm themselves. And I'll try not to go live as long as I did. I also edit it when I get home, so it works fine, but just, so it starts right away. But just let everybody know when they come in, and it'll go quickly. I got to say, I'm feeling very confident that we can walk away winners tomorrow. I feel like I have the ace in the hole, so you will want to tune in tomorrow night, because tomorrow night is going to be some big commentary, all right, because that's a big ordeal, and I think I now have the ace in the hole that's going to make them have to follow the law or stand up and say, yes, 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 we are hypocrites. So that's that. Tune in tomorrow at 1 p.m. For anyone that cannot attend, it will be live streamed on my YouTube channel and on the Facebook through the YouTube link. If you're going to Facebook, you can watch the videos from Facebook if you click the YouTube link. Just sometimes if you're trying to use the Facebook link, it might not work. So you might have to go and scroll until you find a YouTube link. So just be sure that you watch out for that. Okay, the very last thing that I have that I want to cover before we roll out of here is there is a Henry County Commissioners meeting. Henry County, Indiana Commissioners meeting tomorrow. Tomorrow at 6 p.m., Henry County, Indiana Commissioners meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. At that meeting, it is quite possible, because there's only 2 days in the month, we're going to get information about the insurance, and I'm hearing from sources out there in government land that the insurance information on Sproles is not good. The insurance information is not good. So we will be talking about the Delaware County Part 2 election board meeting tomorrow night. We will also be talking about the commissioners meeting. So tune in for that. And very lastly, and we'll save this over for tomorrow because I need to do it justice. Sproles Watch. There was a gentleman yesterday or today, maybe last Saturday even, sometime in the last 3 days, was arrested. The gentleman that shot the guy with the rubber ball, with the pepper ball, he was arrested for a misdemeanor on a warrant. They came and got him in Muncie on a freaking warrant and took him to jail in Henry County. I just want to let everybody know he's a black man. Just let that sink in. Let that sink in. He's a black man. Sproles is okay to do damage to people to the point where they need to go to the hospital and have stitches done.
Was the
shooting him.
misdemeanor in conjunction or related to the pepper ball?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, he's got a huge lawsuit now.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. There goes your second round of insurance. Thank you, Sproles.
So just want to let you know that. And it's been a long meeting. I'm sorry. We are really close to 3 hours. I apologize. Tomorrow we will cover Sproles in great detail. We will carry over with that. Thank you guys for all tuning in and staying here and watching. Very lastly, I want to let you guys know, grandparents update. They have moved my grandmother to a very good, nice rehab. She's going to be in that rehab probably for 2 weeks. And we'll see what happens at the end of the 2 weeks. But her and my grandfather doing better. Grandpa is no longer dealing with the norovirus. And I'm getting ready to shut her down and head that way. You guys have a great rest of your evening. We have been busy since 7 o'clock this morning. Tomorrow, I'm going to kind of take a chill until 1 p.m. 1 p.m., we're going to go kick some ass. And then at 6 p.m., we're going to watch the madness in Henry County. And then at 9 p.m., you want to be right back here so we can keep you guys updated with everything that has gone on. You guys take care of yourselves. God bless each and every one of you. And we will see you all back here tomorrow. I will sleep very well. Take care. God bless. Good night. We'll see you later. Goodbye. Jack.
He's putting it up periodically. You're off screen.
I see it.
You haven't seen it.
I have a Floby. We've got a Floby somewhere.
You are really invested with the haircut.
You must say no more cowardly governing. I need to make this for everybody, not just Jessica.
I like that.
I like it. I like it. We're going to keep that forever.
Let me know if you need any more cuss words.
I love it. It's great. Good night. Love you, Jack.
Happy birthday, Mr. President. Happy